So you're actually the first person that knows. So it turns out that I had a failing mitral valve, and that needed to be repaired. So that is open heart surgery. I don't have any time to waste, right? I was given a second chance. I'm healthy for all intended purposes, and I just want to move forward and do more than I was doing before. You know, people are a little bit more skeptical of having something, interpret through AI. It's just allowing people to be a lot more autonomous. And productivity is increasing.
Welcome back to Back into Alignment, where we explore conversations around fun, fitness, and financial freedom to create more aligned life here from Dubai. Today's guest is Bryan Montpetit. He is a co-CEO of Reviver Global. Bryan is a Canadian entrepreneur, language industry leader, speaker, and growth strategies with over 25 years of experience in localization, interpretation, sales, marketing, and technology. As a fellow Canadian myself, it was great to connect through shared perspective around business, resilience, and growth. In this episode, we explore leadership, AI, healthcare innovation, and what it truly means to future-proof both business and life in a rapidly changing world. We also have a powerful conversation about Bryan's latest venture at the intersection of AI and healthcare, and how his personal experience overcoming a major health challenge last year deeply transformed his perspective on life, recovery, and purpose. This episode is insightful, human, and inspiring for entrepreneurs, leaders, expats in Dubai or anywhere in the world, and anyone that is navigating change while striving to stay aligned physically, mentally, and professionally. Stay tuned. Remember to like and subscribe to the channel so we can continue creating more episodes that inspire you to be better. Well, welcome back into Alignment. Thank you, Bryan, to be here, to share your Friday with us, to share your story. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it. It's been a while that we've spoken about it, and it's finally happening. So I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, I know. As a leader in technology and language industry, and now blending all with AI, I was curious about how are you doing all of this? But it doesn't surprise me because we both moved from Canada to Dubai. And Dubai is a land that allows you to explore opportunities.
Absolutely, yeah.
And it's so much easier to just get it going and get it done. So I understand your progression. I knew what's going to happen. But tell me, like coming from Montreal to Dubai and now exploring this blend of skills, it's been interesting for sure. So firstly, tell me about Reviver Global.
Sure. Yeah, Reviver Global is a language service provider. So basically we provide translation and interpretation services for healthcare organizations, hospitals, and we focus primarily on language accessibility. So coming from Canada, we know it's a bilingual country, and the services are kind of implemented in both languages. But when we get to a place like Dubai, it has such a wealth of all these different cultures, all these different languages, and hospitals especially. They get to service all these people, right? They get to take care of them. So when we are looking at the hospitals dealing with such a diverse population, communication sometimes can break down a little bit. It's with accents, with broken English, with all the different languages. We want to ensure that there's proper communication, that people understand each other. So we provide those services, which is called language accessibility, to these hospitals so that patients and doctors can communicate a little bit better.
Okay, so basically, for everybody listening to the podcast, we live in Dubai, which is actually an emirate in the UAE, and we have a melting pot of 200 nationalities in one place.
Yep, absolutely.
So it happens that Bryan and I were Canadian, but we daily meet with tons of people from all over the world.
Everywhere.
So we speak over 50 languages here for sure. So
Exactly.
then you specialize in supporting the accessibility of language in the medical industry.
Exactly. Yep.
And tell me a bit about how are you coding through the AI that is now translating everything? By the way, before you tell me,
Yes.
now I see that I post a video
Yep.
in social media, and within 5 minutes, the video is already translated in 4 languages:
Nice. Yeah.
Spanish, Portuguese, Hindi, and English. In less than 5 minutes, it's already
Yep.
integrated.
Yep.
So, like, how are you going through this? Because the AI is growing so fast.
It's commonplace now.
So, how is this happening?
Yeah, I think on the translation side, so that's when we're dealing with like written words, right? That AI has been around for a little while now, and it's actually taking a large place of that part of the industry. So we're not afraid of it. We introduce it into our workflows and we use it to enhance our translators' abilities. For interpretation, it's a little bit different. It's only starting now to come into interpretation, and less so in the medical area because there's so much liability that it hasn't reached a point where everybody just trusts it inherently, right? So we want to, it's taking a little bit more time to get into that. So navigating it in terms of the interpretation, it's now learning what's available, introducing it slowly into our day-to-day services, and looking at what's possible moving forward in terms of interpretation for medical.
And this is being implemented in Emirati and also in all the hospitals, or just in particular?
We actually,
areas?
So we have clients in the United Arab Emirates, Qatar, and Saudi. So across the Middle East, we have various hospital networks that are using the services.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so far, how is the acceptation? Like, are people okay with this kind of technology?
So the AI for translation, they're comfortable with it. They seem to inherently trust it, which is really interesting. But I think that when you go into the interpretation side, people are a little bit more skeptical of having something interpret through AI because they want to make sure that the diagnosis is right, the information they're getting about medication is right. And hospitals are a little bit more protective about letting that happen because of that liability. So I think that people are slowly becoming accustomed to it being commonplace, being present. But again, they're doing it with a little bit of reserve. They're being cautious.
This episode is brought to you by Rejuve, your go-to for tools that support health, energy, and performance. Today, we're talking about the compression boots, perfect for fast muscle recovery and lymphatic drainage. These boots gently compress and release your legs to boost circulation, flush out lactic acid, and reduce soreness. You can learn more about this in the website, and also remember that we have a special code for a special discount. And big question here. Because, I know that the last year you passed through a major health challenge. And somehow, when I speak to you this year, now you have this new business emerging through also your health, health recovery.
Yep.
So how are you able to do both when you could just recover, but you're doing both? How is this happening?
So just to clarify what that health event was. So I did. I had a random, or let's say a routine health check. Men over 40 go in for their checkup. Had all my blood work done, and at the end of it, the physician asked me, "Is there anything else you want to talk about?" And I mentioned that I'm like, "Oh, I have in my chest sometimes when I work out. There's a little feeling." And she's like, "Does it hurt?" I'm like, "No, it's not a pain. It's just something I feel, but it goes away almost, a few seconds after." And she said, "Okay, well, you should still see a cardiologist about it." So I did. I made an appointment that afternoon and saw the cardiologist. And what ended up happening was she sat down, stethoscope. Within a minute, she's like, "Have you ever seen somebody about your heart before?" I said, "No." She says, "Okay." A couple more seconds. And then she's like, "We have a problem. We need to do more tests." So it turns out that I had a failing mitral valve. And that needed to be repaired. So that is open heart surgery. So I went through open heart surgery. And to get to what you're asking about is how am I why am I doing everything now? How am I getting there? It's really, it changes perspective. So obviously the recovery is one thing. It's a lot of mental that you have to deal with. But I think it gives, it changes priorities. So now that I'm here, I don't have any time to waste, right? I was given a second chance. I'm healthy for all intended purposes. And I just want to move forward and do more than I was doing before.
Oh my goodness. So what became less important?
That became less important. There's that whole expression, "Don't sweat the small stuff." It's really that. Life's too short to worry about the small things, right? So I can definitely tell you what became more important, and that's spending time with my wife, trying to achieve my objectives, appreciating the day. Every day, wake up, it's a brand new opportunity. So yeah, it's really I think the optimism has kind of increased. Pessimism has decreased, and I'm not really worrying about all those small things that tend to bring people down.
And now that you are a patient, like active patient
Yep.
From the hospital in
Yep.
the UAE,
Yep.
do you think that perspective gives you a level of observation that you can actually improve the technology and the protocols that have been used in the hospitals
Oh my gosh,
since you are actually now being you're becoming more of the patient, visiting more often?
Yeah.
Is that giving you a better perspective of your actual business that you were doing before all of this happened?
So that's a great question, because the day to day when I go to the hospital, my doctor speaks 3 languages. We have zero communication problems. However, after the operation, when I was post-op, there was something that happened. I woke up, and I had signaled over to the nurses station, and they kind of wide eyes, they rushed over, and there was kind of a chaos around me, a little panic, and I didn't know what was going on, and I started not feeling well, like really not okay.
Yeah.
And they were speaking, I believe it was Hindi, so they were speaking Hindi around me, and it was very animated, speaking to each other, and I didn't know what was happening. So in hindsight, I can really appreciate what we do and the services we offer in terms of that language accessibility, because I was terrified. I thought I was dying. And all I got from somebody was, you're okay. And they kept going off, and it was frightening. So I really do now, I think, empathize more with the situation than I could have possibly before, just because I hadn't experienced it as, firsthand.
So in that moment where everybody was speaking different languages, did you see the potential solution using your technology?
So it happened so fast that, I think that we get people online as an interpreter within like 30 seconds, often it's faster than that. So I know that they had their priority, which was taking care of me, and I appreciate them doing that. But yeah, I see that, if there's a patient, for example, that is there, I do see that there are definitely ways to improve the service offering, and I guess provision, and availability to the patient. So, again, I didn't know what language was going to be spoken. I could have hit a button and, called for an interpreter or something like that. But yeah, I do see now how fast things happen, which gives me a different perspective on how we can provide services.
Yeah, but then in this situation, the interpretation will come as a voice interpretation, and then you will be able to listen on a real time what they're actually speaking to you.
So it's called consecutive. So it's one person speaks, it's interpreted for the recipient, and then it goes back and forth. And that, so essentially what would have happened, it would have been on an iPad or a tablet, or in worst case scenarios, a mobile phone or something. So you do have video. There are 2 modes. It's called OPI, which is over the phone interpretation, which is just vocal. And there's and then there's the VRI, which is the video. So that's like a video call where you're looking at the interpreter, and they're, actually conveying all the emotion, everything else that the physician has. They're doing it back and forth.
Okay, so that's the system that's already been working and implemented. Okay.
Yeah, it's available. It's commercially available now. 250 plus languages. Interpreters within 30 seconds. So that's pretty cool.
Right.
Yeah.
And then Reviver Global is focusing only on the interpretation side, or you already are opening an umbrella of other possibilities and solutions?
Right. Because our industry is changing, and that's also a great question. What we've started doing is we've started future-proofing our business. And in order to do that, I had to start looking at what type of services, what type of technologies out there that can help us, preserve the business, and while growing it, of course, but ensuring that there's no decline. So what we did is we actually started working on AI solutions, and we're in beta right now. We're going to be launching June 15th with our new SaaS version of a tool.
Tell me about that.
Yeah, very exciting. So effectively, it is a knowledge base or a knowledge engine, if you will, which is focused for companies, so custom to companies. And if I can use the technical terms, it's going to be an LLM, which is going to be proprietary to our customers. And it's going to be all permission-based, so role-based access. So nobody's going to be able to access things you don't want them to access, but effectively, they're going to be indexing all documents across the organization. And search is dead in the sense that you don't search for documents anymore. You don't look through all the directories and try and find something, read it, digest it. It's really, you just ask. So it's more conversational, and you can just be like, what is our policy on, on PTO? And you get the answer. So it's more, don't search, just ask.
And that will be launched in Dubai. You are a wellness-driven woman who wants calm, steady energy without the jitters. Meet Chitonics, instant vegan, adaptogenic chai made to fuel woman on the go. Try Focus Flow for clean energy or Rose Ritual to melt stress. Get the 10% off with code JOA10 at thechitonics.com. Chitonics, ritual meets results.
Launched in Dubai June 15th. Yes.
For companies in the UAE.
Global.
Global.
Yeah, so it is industry agnostic, so there's no actual limitation in terms of what.
And it could be any industry. It could be from healthcare to any other industry. Yeah. And so far, how are the beta testing and all of this happening now?
It's going really well. So the beta tests themselves, what's actually happening with the beta test is we're finding out that where before people would have to stop what they're doing, search, read, digest, and then usually they confirm with a colleague what they've read, or they just ask their colleagues and they're bothering those people. This is just allowing people to be a lot more autonomous, and productivity is increasing substantially.
Like the employees have more data access, so they can actually make decisions easier.
Exactly. In decisions easier, guidelines, adhering to policies. So, I mean, imagine if, your company knew what it knows, right? You spend all this time creating documentation, SOPs, policies, guidelines, rules, everything. And how many people in a company actually go through all of them and read them? Not many. So normally you have a question, you'll go to HR and you'll ask them about, okay, what's the PTO policy? Or you'll go to, one of the other departments and ask them, so what are our rates on X or Y or Z? So this allows you to have it securely, dispersed throughout the company, and increase productivity for each one of the individuals.
And as you are evolving on all of this search of your actual skills, this year, passing through the recovery of your health, and incorporating the Revival Global now with the new growth, you see yourself coming back into being a keynote speaker, or do you have time for that?
So do I have time? I'll make time for it. It's something I enjoy.
Okay.
So I do very much enjoy speaking as keynote or just presenting in general. But keynote is something that I'm still pursuing, still actively pursuing. I don't have anything booked at the moment right now, but that's just because I'm getting back to my availability and
back into alignment.
Back into alignment, exactly. Yeah.
So you are now leading the AI/business development company, and then you see. Coming back into that topic in the speaking presentations, you see yourself just kind of bringing and blending more AI and technology.
I mean, when I usually speak, it's usually about leadership. What I try to do is take day-to-day situations and convert them into business lessons. Leadership is a big one. The technology side, I talk about, but it's not a primary focus in terms of the keynotes, although it can be. Especially now with the distribution of the new tool.
Yeah. The three pillars of Back into Alignment are 3F. So that's why I remember fun, fitness, and financial freedom.
Nice.
So, like, how do you keep yourself in a joyful state, knowing all of this that's happening simultaneously? Like, what would be your number one practice that keeps you in a joyful state?
You know, I like to be active, very simply. I mean, aside from spending time with my wife, of course, you know, good company always helps that. But yeah, I like to stay active. So the gym is a big thing. You know, it allows me to clear my mind. It allows me just to rejuvenate myself and just start my day off really.
And with the
positive note.
condition, it's okay to exercise, or like,
Yes.
how are you dealing with that? It's kind of difficult if you are recovering.
So I wasn't allowed to start right away. I had to kind of ease back into it. And I'm still easing back into it. And I mean, before it was a 5 to 6 day a week. Now it's more of a 3 day a week, just because I'm getting back, conditioning the heart, doing more cardio than I was doing before, and just making sure that everything's healed the way it's supposed to heal before I really go in a little bit more intense.
In the second F, it was about fitness.
Yep.
So fitness is not just physical fitness, but it could be also mental fitness.
Right.
So like, how did you actually see, now that you're not able to move so much as you normally used to do,
Yep.
so how did you actually create the balance that you need in this moment, in this season?
Wow. Yeah, I mean, I think going back to the gym, I know it's fitness, but it is also mental, right? So there's a lot of, for me anyway, being in the gym and working out actually allows mental clarity. If I come back and say, you know, I do think a lot more. I think I'm a lot more pensive than I was before about situations. I mean, there's, you know, just having that whole health issue really allows me to come back and ponder what's, you know, important priorities. And that in itself is reassuring and kind of gives me mental clarity and relaxation as well. So I think the, you know, mental side, it's, yeah, just taking a step back and being able to think about things.
And have you considered something a little bit more relaxing, more like a Qigong and Tai Chi?
I haven't.
I'm just saying because I used to teach Tai Chi.
Yeah.
And I love Tai Chi. It slows you down and it's very calming.
Right.
And it's connected to the elements of the nature.
That's so awesome. Yeah.
So like Qigong, Tai
Yep.
Chi, all of these slow motion movements are not going to raise your heart rate,
Right.
but it may create a deep transformation.
That's fantastic. I definitely have to look. Very sincerely, I don't know too much about it, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, having it brought up is, I guess, one more thing I'm going to think about.
Now you got another project.
Exactly.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
Well. Look, tell me about the launch that is coming, and like anything. Are you planning to?
So you're actually the first person that knows. So you know, we have a holding pit. Yeah, we haven't really come out with anything official yet. We're a little bit late on it, but at the same time, as of next Monday, you know, there's going to be a lot more activity. For example, on LinkedIn, you know, announcements.
Yeah.
All the white papers are going to be available for the research that's been done to, you know, validate what we're actually pushing forth with the new tool.
Yeah.
So we're basically creating that, you know, early bird, you know, interest. So you can sign up with your email at askkubi.com, and it's ask and KUBI.com.
I will add it in the notes.
Yeah, great. And yeah, you can put your email there, and we'll keep you up to date on the launch information.
Nice. Yeah, no, it will be exciting just because I know I'm an entrepreneur myself. I would say 90% of my friends are entrepreneurs. We're constantly talking about our businesses, like how if they feel that we are getting stuck or if some challenges. Many times we're talking about AI, which tools are actually working, which tools are we actually just wasting our efforts.
Right.
So something for me that I have been struggling with AI is the quality of the ethical, just values on the workers on AI. I've been struggling with that.
So the workers
Because it
themselves.
seems like the AI workers are just more like a robots. So
Wait,
I'm wondering.
Are we talking about the human people
Yeah,
or the
actually,
actual like,
the
agents?
the actual operators of AI, I feel like they just very transactional. Like I give you this and you give me this,
Yeah.
and then there is not really
It's-
ethical.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering, like, how are you going to create this
Right.
delivery of the service that it still brings the humanity of the work?
Well, I mean, thankfully, it's we're not consulting necessarily on AI, right? We've produced a platform that,
Yeah.
that uses AI that will benefit people. So we don't have to deal with that per se. But I think there are a lot of people, these workers, as you say. I mean, AI is big, right? Everyone wants to know more. Everybody's really going for the what can we do with AI? So there's a lot of consultants, there's a lot of workers, and they don't necessarily have to be good, and they don't necessarily have to, make everyone happy. They'll just have another client if they
Yeah,
need to
I
move on.
understand.
So their I guess client service is not exactly premium.
Yeah,
That's
I
what I've
guess
seen so far.
that's where you can come up and show the difference.
I'm happy to help anybody that needs it. It's
Yeah.
and I do try. On LinkedIn every day I try and give advice. It's coaching. My videos, my daily videos.
Yeah.
There it is. I try and give people advice from leadership to business to just how to improve themselves generally. So.
Yes, Brian. Well, I am actually really excited for your new launch of your
Thank
new
you.
business.
Yeah.
And we follow your LinkedIn. We're going to be sharing the notes
Great.
and the link to be able to get into the waiting list.
Fantastic.
Maybe to have a consultation with you to
Yeah,
see how
great.
you can support businesses
Sure.
and globally, by the way.
Absolutely.
So, which is a
Yep.
good thing. But thank you so much. And
Thank
yes, super. I am looking forward to have you again
you,
and
Joelle.
enjoy the weekend. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Take care.